Hi guys and welcome back here to the development. Today we're going to be starting a brand new quick tutorial, and the tutorial we are going to be doing today, it's a slidable door. So we're going to create a door that as you get close it will slide, and when the player leaves the area the door will go back to normal. So without wasting too much time, let's just get that started. So the first thing we need to do, I'm going to go back here to the main. I'm just going to create a main folder. I already have one. I am gonna actually create another folder called modules, so you go ahead and do this. I'm using the Fly project, which is something you can also find here, but I'm just gonna create a new one called interaction. All right, and what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna create a new folder called blueprints, and then inside the blueprint I'm just gonna create my actor called BP sliding door. So sliding door, perfect. So usually I create as a parent, but in this case I'm just gonna make it simple. So let's just go ahead and open up our actor. So the first thing I want to do is that I want to get, for example here, like an effect like that. So something that slides like this in all those directions. But I want to make something that goes here, another one that goes there, and vice versa. So it can goes back to normal as well. All right. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add here mesh. In this case, a cube, right? And this is gonna be your mesh, right? Unfortunately, I don't have any mesh for this, but I can come up with something right now. So I'm just gonna drag and drop my actor here so we can see more or less how it's gonna look. And then what I'm gonna do is I am gonna basically call this door, right? L. And what I'm going to do is kind of open up here, make it a little bit bigger, right? And then probably going to do something like that. Just make sure it slides well. Just changing the shape. So it looks like more of a door. Actually, that's the wrong location. It should be, no, like that. Yeah, perfect. So you get something that it looks like this. So if you need to check here, we have all those settings right there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger, and then I'm gonna copy that, copy and paste, and I'm gonna put this door right here, right? I'm gonna just try to make sure that they align up like this. A trick, if you want to make sure that you align things on the center, just search for arrow, and then you see the arrow. Usually it's gonna bring the arrow here. So that's like the center of the scene. You see that I kind of did a mistake here. I mean, it doesn't matter, but we can just use the arrow as a reference. Let me just start it again. So I set a cube, and then we can use it the right proportion. So we're gonna make it a door that looks like that, looks like here. It's hard when you don't have a mesh, but we can use this as a reference. And there you go. So we come up with something like this. Nice. So if we press play, character should be able to see this and should not be able to go through. So what I want to do is that we need a kind of a trigger that when we get to the door, it slides those objects to here and to the other side. So to do this, what we need, I'm going to delete the arrow here, by the way, don't need that, is that I need to add here a trigger, or in this case, cube, or actually sphere collision. So collision, we need a box. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to align this box more or less right here at the player's feet. Actually, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, right? So we can actually interact a little bit more, because imagine that if you're jumping. So we can see how this is going to look now. So I'm going to paste it right here. So if I press play, I can see the door. Perfect. Now, one thing I like to do when I'm developing, I go to the trigger and I always search for hidden, and I click this hidden in game. And also, if you want to be able to see this a little bit better, you can put the line thickness to 1. So you're going to be able to see a better collision, right? So you see when we are inside the object, which is good. Now what we need to do is that we need to make the logic, right? So what we're going to do is that on the event graph, I'm going to close all this stuff, right? I'm going to go back to the box, and we're going to go here on component being overlapped, right? And what we're going to do is that other actor, I'm going to cast to character. character, right? And let's just see what is going to happen. So if I press here and I enter, you see that? Hello, perfect. So with that in mind, this, by the nature of casting, it's successful on this line, otherwise it will fail. So we just need to worry about creating the sliding door. So I'm just gonna bring the begin play event. So search for the begin play. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a timeline. So type add timeline. I'm gonna use a timeline to do this for us. This timeline is gonna be called open door, right? And it can be called, you know, let's say handle door, because we'll open or close the door depending on whatever we're trying to do. Now I'm gonna double click on this, and I wanna basically check how long do I want this door to open. So the higher the level, of course, the lower it gets, but I think like 3 seconds sounds like good. Sounds like a good time. So I'm gonna add here, I'm gonna right click on this line, okay? I'm gonna add a key, and also I'm gonna click another one, and I'm gonna add another key. And I'm gonna select this first one, and I'm gonna press 0 on time and 0 on value. And the same here. So the time's gonna be 3, and the value is gonna be 1. So it's gonna go like that, right? So this one, 0, 0, this one, 3, 1. Make sure the length is 3, and to add those lines, right click with your mouse. All right. Now we're gonna compile and save. You can close this, and you can go back here. Right. Also, you can give a name to this. So if you want to rename, I'm just gonna leave as new track. Doesn't matter. Now I'm always gonna play this from start all the time, and we need to make sure that we're gonna move the box. So when working with timeline, one thing I learned is that you always need to get the current object location before you trigger the timeline. This is very important to make objects move on your scene. So let's just call this door L, and then let's call this door R. All right. Now what we're gonna do, go back to event graph and bring the door L and the door R. And first, get world location. And we're gonna do the same for the door R, right? Now what we need to do is that we need to save their position before we can get them inside the timeline. So I'm gonna promote this to a variable called current location door L, right? So I'm gonna plug this one right here. And then here I'm gonna promote a variable called door R. You know, just copy and paste, just change to L and R. Nice. And now we're gonna play from start. And here what we can actually do. So I can actually just, I know the location I want to move this. So in this case it's gonna be like 300 on this axis, right? So it's gonna be 300, and I guess this one here is gonna be like minus 300 or something like that. Right. So what we can do here is that we're going to go back to the door L, right? And what we're going to do here, make sure you get the door L here, set actor or set location, set world location. Okay. And then we're going to plug this update. So every time he updates, it triggers this. And we need now to find the location we want to do. So for this, we need to call a node called lerp. So basically a lerp, it's a way of telling I am on the location A and I want to go to the location B. And this is how long this will take. So for example, if I use paint here to illustrate this really quickly, I get a circle. And I want my circle to go where is the red one. And think about the alpha as the timeline that makes our circle move, right? So if it's 0.5 will be on half, and if it's 1 will be completed, and if it's 0 will be in the beginning. So that's a very simple way of illustrating this, right? So the thing that we can do here is that make sure that the A, it's always the current location, and B is where you want it to go, right? So B, in this case, I know for a fact that is this location, the 280, right? So what I can do here is that I can basically split those structures. So I can get here, for example, the current door location, okay? And I can also split them, and I can put L, and I can put Z, and the B one, we're gonna have to change it in a second, but let's just test it to 300, right? And then the alpha, we are gonna basically change to here. But this one, okay, what we need to do is basically we need to do L plus, and we need to increment to 300 because it's the current location on the world plus whatever we want this to move, right? And I think that should do. So it's kind of not, it's not moving to the right location, right? Because we wanted to make, so that is going on the YAL. So let's, on the wrong location. So that's why. So, all right, guys. So after doing some tests, I found out a nice way to do this. But basically, what we're gonna do here is to move the door. We're gonna be using the arrow. So the arrow will be telling us the location that we want to move the door, because it represents where do we want to assign. So I'm gonna add a final location door, let's say L, and I can just do the same one, final location to the door R, and then we just plug the one here. So to move the door, I already have done all this stuff. So what we're gonna do here is that we're gonna get the door, set world location, get this stuff. We're gonna get the door here, and we're gonna get world location, and then we just plug them here. And for the door L, I'm gonna do the same. I'm just gonna replace the variables. Okay, so I'm gonna plug this R here, get this one right there, perfect, and final R right here, right? And then the alpha needs to be the same, right? Perfect. Now, if you press play, you should be able to see the door sliding. So there is a problem here that we need to make this the door go back to the same place, but we can figure out that in a second. Let's just make sure that this is working. So I know that this is working. So every time the character gets inside that, look at that, it works. Now we need to make the logic so when it gets out of it and then the door closes. So that's the same as the simple thing. Actually, what I like to do is sometimes when you place your part, you don't exactly understand where is the location, and you want to make sure that it goes back exactly to where it was. So I'm gonna get a begin play, right? Begin play, and I'm just gonna copy this logic from here, right? I'm gonna explain why I'm gonna copy this. So we have the original door location. So original start at location door, let's say L, and I am gonna do the same for this one, R. Perfect. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna compile and save this stuff. Perfect. Now we just need to do the same thing, the same logic basically, but here's the thing. When we are opening the door, right, we need to basically be able to tell the engine that we are opening the door. So open, so door is open, right? And I'm gonna set this to true. Now, if you go back to the box settings and overlap, it's gonna copy this, paste it right there, plug this value, and we're gonna plug the other actor right here, and we're gonna mark this to false, right? Very simple. I'm gonna plug them here, and here's the trick. So I'm just gonna organize everything here. Here is the best part. So the best part here is that we can select which one do we want to do. So I can do this, select. I can select a vector. So for example, if the door is open, you pick the first one. If the door is closed, we get this one, And we're gonna do the same for here, right? So we're gonna do a select, right? Plug it there. And then we can just get the door R. And the last thing we need is just the door, it's open, right? So what happened, let's see. I get here, and then I get out. Get inside, get out. And as you can see, the door opens and closes perfectly, which is quite cool actually. And that's it, guys. That's all I have for this tutorial. Let me know if you want to see something different. I would like to bring more simple tutorials like this as part of my series. But let me know if you want to see anything that you want to build. And I think this is a quite cool, simple little door. And let me know if you want to see like some kind of a key card. We can do that as well. Thank you very much, and see you in the next one.